There are certain notifications that should never appear while you are still awake enough to prove they are wrong. A front door unlocking when you never touched it, a motion alert from an empty room, a quiet vibration in the dark that tells you the apartment has changed before the apartment itself does. Some things are frightening because they are loud, others are frightening because they are administrative, cold, calm, certain. That is how this started. Not with a scream, not with a broken window, not with someone pounding on my front door in the middle of the night. Just with my phone lighting up on the bedside table, and a notification from my door lock app. I live alone, and I am careful in the boring, habitual way people become careful after enough nights by themselves. I check the lock twice, I keep the chain up, I make sure the app is connected before bed. I tell myself that technology helps because it turns fear into information, and information feels manageable. That night I woke up at 2:11 a.m. because my phone buzzed once against the wood. I rolled over, unlocked the screen, and read the message. Front door unlocked. I stared at it for a second, not frightened yet, just confused, because my front door was 10 steps away down the hallway and I had not touched it since locking it an hour earlier. I opened the app. The event log showed the unlock clearly, time-stamped, clean, ordinary, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Then before I could decide whether to get out of bed, another notification appeared. Front door opened. That was the moment my body went cold, because a lock glitch is one thing, a sensor saying the door physically opened is another. I got up immediately, walked to the bedroom doorway, and looked down the hall toward the front entrance. The chain was still on, the door was still shut, the deadbolt was still in place, nothing had opened, nothing was moving, the apartment was silent. I remember just standing there with my phone in one hand, looking from the real door to the app like one of them would eventually admit it was lying. Then the third notification arrived. Front door closed. The app had just documented someone unlocking, opening, and closing my front door, while I was still inside staring at a door that had never moved. I took 3 steps toward it, slowly, watching the handle, watching the chain, watching for any tiny sign that the wood had shifted in the frame. Nothing. The door looked exactly the same as it always did. The only thing changing was the phone screen in my hand. Then a 4th notification arrived. Someone entered successfully. I actually felt my stomach drop at that line, because until then I had still been treating it like a device problem, a sensor issue, a dead battery, bad sync, some dull technical explanation. But that sentence was not technical. That sentence assumed a person, it assumed completion, it assumed success, and if the app was right, then someone was no longer outside the apartment. They were already in it. I backed away from the door without meaning to, and the app refreshed again by itself, showing the floor plan view tied to the smart lock system, a small blue dot for the front door, a faint white marker for the hallway sensor, and one new status line under the log. Interior motion detected. Near kitchen. I turned toward the kitchen so fast my shoulder hit the wall. Nothing there, only darkness, only the weak city light bleeding across the floor from the living room blinds, only the shape of furniture where it should have been. I told myself not to panic, because panic wants movement and movement wants mistakes. Then my phone buzzed again. Interior motion cleared. Like whatever had been there had stopped moving the second I looked. I stood frozen in the hallway, phone raised, listening, and then from somewhere deeper in the apartment, I heard a soft metallic click. Not the front door, not a window, the bathroom handle. Just a tiny movement of metal settling against itself, the kind of sound you never notice in daylight and never survive normally at 2 a.m. The app updated again. Bathroom door opened. My real bathroom door was still closed. I could see it from where I stood. I could see the pale rectangle of the frame and the black slit of shadow beneath it. Still shut, still motionless, and now I understood something I did not want to know. The app was not tracking what had happened. It was tracking what was about to happen. I watched the bathroom door. The app said open. The real door remained shut for 1 long second, then 2, then the handle slowly turned, and the door opened an inch. I made a sound then, not a word, just breath leaving too fast, because once the first prediction came true, the rest of the system stopped feeling digital and started feeling like rehearsal. I stepped backward into the bedroom doorway and the app buzzed again. Bedroom entry in 012. That was not how the app normally talked. It should have said motion, sensor, door, lock, never entry in 012. Never like a countdown. I stared at the screen, and the number changed. 011, 010, 009. I shut the bedroom door and locked it, then shoved the chair under the handle even though I knew the door opened inward and it barely helped. My phone screen kept counting. 008, 007, 006, I stood with both hands on the phone, breathing through my mouth, waiting for something to hit the door. Nothing did. The timer reached 0, and the app buzzed again. Bedroom entry delayed. That frightened me more than impact would have, because impact is human, delay feels deliberate, delay means adjustment. I looked down at the live status map again, and for the first time I saw a second marker, not on the door, not in the hall, inside the apartment, inside my apartment, just beyond the bedroom wall, labeled with a blank device name I had never registered. It moved once, very slightly, toward me, then stopped. I opened the device details page with a thumb that was starting to shake. There was no serial number, no model, only one line of text. Access route learning. I read that 3 times because it made no sense. Then from outside the bedroom, in the hallway, I heard my own footsteps. Not footsteps like mine. Mine exactly. The same pace, the same slight drag of the right heel, the same weight, 1, 2, 3, coming toward the bedroom door. I stood absolutely still because hearing something wrong is frightening. Hearing yourself outside your own body is worse. It sounds like a mistake in the universe before it sounds like a threat. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. My phone buzzed once. Primary occupant confirmed. Then, softly, from the hallway, my own voice said, "Can you unlock this?" Not shouted, not panicked, just quietly inconvenienced. Like I had stepped out for a second and gotten locked out of my own room. I did not answer. The voice came again, still mine, still calm. "The app is broken." Then the phone screen changed to a warning page I had never seen before. "Do not authenticate voice match." I backed away from the door, and my heel caught the bed frame. The voice outside gave a tiny laugh. My laugh. Soft, embarrassed, almost friendly. Then the footsteps moved away, and the app updated again. Occupant relocated. Near closet. I looked at my bedroom closet immediately. Closed, dark seam between the doors, nothing visibly wrong. Then the right closet panel clicked as if pressure had touched it from the inside. The app buzzed. Closet opened. In real life, it was still shut. I knew better now than to wait. I moved to the far side of the room, keeping both the closet and the door in view, and a second later the closet door slid open 3 inches by itself. Slow enough that I could hear the rollers. Slow enough that whatever was behind it had time to feel intentional. Inside, only darkness, hanging shirts, the faint line of the back wall, and then my phone buzzed again. Occupant no longer in closet. I looked up from the app instantly, because there are sentences that force your body to obey before your mind can resist. The closet was still open, still empty, and from the hallway behind the bedroom door, my own footsteps were coming back. Faster this time. My phone flashed a new notification. Bathroom mirror interaction detected. I actually said no out loud because I knew what that meant before I turned. I knew it in the same way you know a drop on a roller coaster before gravity proves it. I looked toward the attached bathroom. The door there was half open, and in the dark mirror above the sink, I could see movement that did not belong to me. A figure crossing the reflected bedroom from the wrong direction. Too tall, too smooth, too sure of the room. I shut the bathroom door immediately and locked it. Then the app buzzed. Mirror access interrupted. The silence after that felt enormous because now the apartment had rules, and anything with rules has done this before. The phone refreshed again, showing a new line under the log. Secondary entry path required. That was the first time I understood this was not just about the door. The lock had been the beginning because doors are how people think entry works. But something in the apartment was learning all the ways I understood inside and outside. Bedroom, bathroom, closet, mirror. It was not just coming in, it was studying which boundary I would trust next. Then a new page opened by itself on the app. Voice authentication recommended. Below it, a microphone icon, and under that, one sentence. Say unlock to confirm identity. I threw the phone onto the bed so fast it bounced because that was too clear, too direct, too much like the app had stopped reporting and started participating. From the hallway, my own voice said quietly, "Just say it." Then the bathroom mirror behind the closed door tapped once from the inside. I grabbed the phone again. New log entry. Bathroom entry in 014. The countdown started. 013, 012, 011. I looked around the room for something heavy, something useful. My eyes landed on the lamp. I took it in one hand and stared at the bathroom door while the timer ran down. 005, 004, 003, 002, 001. The app buzzed. Bathroom entry delayed. A second later, something knocked once on the bedroom door. then once on the bathroom door, then once inside the closet. 3 different places, 3 different borders, 1 apartment, 1 body standing in the center of it trying to decide which wall still meant what it used to mean. The app updated again. Exit route available. Fire stair access. That made no sense at first because the front door was closer, but that was exactly why I trusted the message. If something was learning my instincts, the front door was where it would wait for them. I moved to the bedroom door, listening, nothing, then to the hall, then past the front entrance without looking at it, because by then I understood that the smart lock had never been warning me about the door opening. It had been teaching me what it meant for something to enter without using one. I ran through the living room toward the fire exit, phone in one hand, lamp in the other, and behind me, perfectly matched to my pace, I heard my own footsteps running too.
Exact rehashigrekte.
Exact weight, closer every second. I hit the crash bar and burst into the stairwell. Cold concrete air hit my face. The heavy metal door slammed shut behind me, and all the sounds from the apartment stopped at once. Not faded, stopped. I stood on the landing shaking so hard I had to crouch, and the phone buzzed one last time. Secondary occupant retained interior access. Then another line appeared beneath it. Primary occupant successfully exited. That line sat there on the screen while I tried to understand what it meant because it should have comforted me, but it didn't. It separated me from the apartment too cleanly, as if the system had already decided there were 2 versions of me and only one had left. I stayed in that stairwell until morning, and when building security finally came back up with me, the apartment looked normal, front door locked, chains still up, closet open, bathroom mirror untouched, nothing stolen, nothing broken, nothing except the inside of the front door, because around the smart lock housing, drawn in the dust with a fingertip, were 4 slow words. You open faster inside. I moved out 2 days later, new building, new lock, no app, no voice access, no smart system, nothing connected. For a while nothing happened. Then last week, at 2:11 a.m., my phone buzzed on the bedside table. 1 notification from a lock app I had deleted. Alternative entry learned successfully.